Which NFL players will take home the hardware in 2020? I'm talking about the players that will win the awards, the MVP, the Offensive Player of the Year, the Defensive Player of the Year, the Rookie Awards, the Coach of the Year, who's going to be the Comeback Player of the Year. These are my predictions for every NFL award for the 2020 season, giving you my pick for each and every NFL award. Before I give you my predictions for the NFL awards of 2020, Gronk, spike the like button and subscribe to The Bottom Line View for more NFL predictions just like this. Also, comment your opinion below. Who do you think takes home those trophies in 2020? Let's kick off my award predictions with the rookies. The Offensive Rookie of the Year and the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Let's start on the offensive side of the football. And the one thing to note about these rookie awards is two big factors in my opinion. Of course, you have the talent of the player, but even more so than the talent with rookies specifically is opportunity. Opportunity to have a big season. Are they put in the right position? Were they drafted in the right scheme to succeed with that talent? Very important, even more so than the pure talent itself. Offensively, I look at one running back and I say, wow, this guy is in a perfect situation. And I'm actually not talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. While I do feel like it's going to be difficult to outdo him and outperform him this season, Jonathan Taylor is a player that is built like Saquon Barkley. This guy has great power, speed, breakaway ability, and he's a grinder. He perfectly fits what Indianapolis wants to do offensively. Yes, he's not the pass catcher that Edwards-Helaire is. I expect the Colts to be a playoff team. I think the biggest reason they will be a playoff team is because of this offensive line and Taylor running the football. This power running game is going to lead them to victories. That narrative in the minds of voters will create Jonathan Taylor at the top of the list for Offensive Rookie of the Year candidates. When I think about the Defensive Rookie of the Year, there's one thing that stands out as a difference between offensive rookies and defensive rookies, especially in this era of fantasy football. When we're talking about offensive rookies, every fan knows the best offensive rookies because of fantasy football, because of the stats, because of the numbers, because of the highlights. But when it comes to defensive rookies, not enough NFL fans and NFL media members actually know the ones that are performing at a high level unless they're showcased. They're on prime time. They're on a good team. They're in the playoffs. That's why it's difficult for a defensive rookie on a bad team to win this award. Now, Chase Young is one of those guys that could do it, definitely. But I just don't think the Washington football team is going to be showcased enough in a positive light to the point where he wins this award. Not to mention, there's so many good players around him on that defense where it could take the shine away from him, especially up front. When I'm thinking about my Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm thinking the secondary. And I'm thinking a team that's on prime time many times this year. My number one safety of this draft class, ANTOINE Winfield Jr., is my selection to win Defensive Rookie of the Year in Tampa Bay. Now, ANTOINE Winfield Jr., I think, is immediately going to start or at least play a big role in Tampa's secondary. A young secondary that's going to be showcased in prime time with Tom Brady now on the Bucs. I think 5 times. He's a playmaker. He's known for interceptions. He's known for his versatility. He's a lot like Tyrann Mathieu in that way. He has a fiery personality on the field. He's a great guy off the field. He's a legacy player. ANTOINE Winfield Sr., being in the NFL with the Vikings, really great player himself, his dad. So this is a great pick, in my opinion, and a sleeper pick where he has that story and he has that great chance to succeed on a team that's under the biggest spotlight this season. And when people are watching the Bucks this year, that I think is going to be a really good team, not only will they be loving the offense, but when they look at the defense, a young defense, they're going to say, wow, this rookie safety, he flies all over the field. He's making plays constantly, and they're going to point to him for putting it all together, even if there's a lot of talent around him. The comeback player of the year. Now, this one to me in 2020 is the best, most fascinating discussion. There are so many players that you could pick for this award, and I would not blame you. I mean, Rob Gronkowski is coming out of retirement, arguably the greatest tight end of all time. You could talk about Ben Roethlisberger and his injury coming back and potentially having a big season with the Steelers team that should be really good. Of course, Alex Smith, if he even plays, that would be incredible. And I'd love that story to see him play and see him succeed and win this award. I totally love that. My selection is because I'm all in on the Lions this year. I have to give one of their players or somebody on their team an award. And I believe it's Matt Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford last season was incredible. Anybody that watched the Lions last year would tell you he was a top 5 quarterback before going down, and legitimate MVP candidate before getting injured. And they won 0 games, 0 without him. This year, if they have the season, I think they can, and maybe they go to the playoffs or they're at least close. I think Stafford has a really good chance of winning this award because I think a lot of people think the Lions stink. So if they're good, they're going to look at Stafford as carrying them, even though that might or might not necessarily be true. And he just seems to have gone through a lot personally with his wife and the injury. And he's a guy that a lot of people are starting to kind of turn a new leaf on in terms of realizing that he's been kind of in a bad situation his entire career as a #1 overall pick, kind of carrying these teams year after year. And maybe finally the media is starting to give the deserved credit to Stafford that he actually does deserve. And by winning the comeback player of the year, I think that would certainly be a statement from the media on Matt Stafford. When it comes to the offensive player of the year, oftentimes the MVP actually takes home both awards, or it goes to another quarterback with the most stats, the biggest numbers, the best fantasy quarterback sometimes, right? But the way I do the offensive player of the year is I try to pick a skill position player, the best skill position player of the season. I don't like looking at the quarterback position because oftentimes the best quarterback is the MVP. That's just the way it is. Quarterback position is the most valuable position. But when it comes to the best player, the best playmaker, that oftentimes isn't the quarterback. So I want to separate those two awards and not just give it to the same person just for the sake of it. I'm going to choose a running back, receiver, or tight end. And there's quite a few candidates that you could choose from. Ones that pop into my mind are George Kittle as maybe a surprise one in San Francisco, Tyreek Hill in Kansas City, Michael Thomas in New Orleans. You could also look at Devontae Adams in Green Bay as well. I think is going to have a huge season. There's a plethora of running backs, including Christian McCaffrey. Maybe Derrick Henry takes it home. Even a sleeper like Josh Jacobs, certainly. But my selection is Saquon Barkley. Of course, I've been hyping up Saquon since he's come out of the draft, and I do believe he's the next great running back in this league, and I do believe he's the most talented. Now, his team isn't the greatest, and I understand that, but I think it's going to be a one-man show in New York. I also tend to think that Saquon is going to carry this team to some wins, and this offense is going to be dynamic, effective, efficient, and electric. I think with Jason Garrett at the helm, we've seen what Jason Garrett does with running backs. He's really good in terms of a play caller, a schemer with running backs, no matter if it was DeMarco Murray, Zeke, and even with quarterbacks, Tony Romo, Dak Prescott. He's been able to get the best of his offenses when he's been at the helm of the offensive scheme. And that's what he's doing in New York with the Giants. And Saquon's a rare talent. It doesn't really matter the play. He can make anything happen. And I could see a season for Saquon where he's near 100 receptions, like 90 to 100. I definitely can see that. I think he's going to have anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 rushing yards. And I definitely could see him leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns. He's going to have a lot of big plays, a lot of highlights. People love Saquon, love to watch Saquon, and he's in New York. That obviously helps. I'm going to go with Saquon as the Offensive Player of the Year in 2020. Now, the Defensive Player of the Year is probably a deeper discussion. There's a lot of players that could take home this award. I actually correctly predicted Stephon Gilmore to win this award last year, and I was very proud of myself for doing so because I was very high on New England's defense last year, and he rightfully won that award, had an amazing season. I'm not going to predict a repeat, although it could happen. If New England goes to the playoffs and they have a successful season, it's likely because of Gilmore and the defense, but I'm not going to do that. I think Tre'Davious White in Buffalo definitely could win this award as another corner that could step up. Maybe even Jalen Ramsey if the Rams have a better year than we expect, especially on defense. And then the other positions you got to sort out. Okay, safety, Jamal Adams in Seattle, maybe turning around that defense would be interesting. I think a guy to keep an eye on would be Simmons in Denver, Fitzpatrick in Pittsburgh. Oftentimes, though, the Defensive Player of the Year does go to a team that makes the playoffs, or at least, is a really good squad. I believe like most of the last ones that won this award at least had like a bye or were a top 3 seed in either conference. So when thinking about that, I'm going to go with TJ Watt. Now, I don't know if the Steelers are going to be a top 3 seed, but I do think they're going to make the playoffs, and I do think their defense is going to be very good, and I do think TJ Watt might be the best player at his position. He's a dynamic player in terms of taking the football away, and that's what matters when winning this award. He's on a great defense. He's going to be able to put up those sacks because he has great talent around him, taking attention away from him, and he makes game-changing plays consistently. And I think he's just hitting his peak now. This might be his best season come 2020. I think TJ Watt's about to have a stellar year that rivals some of his brother's best seasons. That's why I'm going to go with him to win this award. The Coach of the Year. The Coach of the Year is the narrative award of the year, basically. The Coach of the Year is oftentimes given to the best story in the league, and that's why I call it the narrative award of the year. Oftentimes it goes to the guy that overcomes the odds, comes out of nowhere, surprises. Just overall a great story that people love to tell, hear about, and talk about. This year, I think there's a rare combo of a great coach along with possibly an even better story. And it's the most obvious coach you could give the award to. I'm talking about Bill Belichick. If the Patriots make the playoffs this year with this roster, given the opt-outs, given the new quarterback, given Tom Brady left, given the way that people are looking at the Patriots offensively, he would absolutely deserve to win this award and could be his best coaching season of his career and would only up his legacy a notch higher. So to me, Belichick has deserved this award basically every season, if we're talking realistically here. But this year, if he does have success with a new quarterback, new situation, back against the wall, I think he does definitely deserve this award. So I'm going to go with Belichick. And the MVP, the most valuable player of 2020. Who's it going to be? There's a lot of candidates. There's a lot of players that stick out that could have fantastic seasons. Let's just go through the divisions and talk about the ones that stick out to me. Josh Allen is one that I think is a dark horse that not a lot of people are looking at, and I know that he has his detractors. But if the Bills are a top 3 seed in the AFC, possibly a top 2 seed, and they're a 13, 12 win team, and he has 30 touchdowns, maybe he has another 10 rushing touchdown kind of season, that would definitely put him in that Cam Newton 2015 range of winning that award for sure. Cam Newton, if he has an epic season and carries the Patriots to the playoffs. Those are the two AFC East guys I look at. And of course, this is a quarterback award. Remember this. AFC North, obviously Lamar could repeat for sure. Ben Roethlisberger might be an outside opportunity. I don't necessarily see anybody on the Browns, and I don't think Joe Burrow is quite there yet. The AFC South, I don't think Phillip Rivers has a chance to win this award just because I think they're going to be too run heavy. Deshaun Watson, definitely, if he takes his team to a 10-11 win season, given Hopkins, given the way that the public looks at this team, they look at it as a Deshaun Watson one-man show. So he has an opportunity to win this award. Then you look at Patrick Mahomes, and then Dak Prescott, Carson Wentz in the NFC East and the AFC West. The NFC North, I would throw Matt Stafford into the mix as possibly winning this award as well. Aaron Rodgers, you can never count him out. But then we get to the NFC West. Kyler Murray is the guy that I think a lot of people expect to have that year 2 breakout. But there's another quarterback in his division that I think deserves this award. Has never actually gotten a vote to win this award. And that's Russell Wilson. And this is a big reason I think Russell Wilson wins this award. Everyone wants him to win this award. Everyone has been praising Russell Wilson for seasons now. And now it's at a peak. It's hit the boiling point of people realizing how special Russell Wilson is. Although he's been that way for a while, people are now, okay, we need to give this guy something. We need to acknowledge that he's great, that he's a Hall of Famer, that he's fantastic. And I think if he just has a really good year that he's been having, he's going to win this award. Unless somebody else throws 40-plus touchdowns, unless somebody else has a Lamar 1,000-yard rushing, 36-touchdown year, I don't see anyone taking this award from Russ because I think the narratives, the media, they're all behind Russell Wilson. Everyone's saying, let Russ cook, let Russ cook. I think the Seahawks are going to be a really good team, double-digit wins. He's going to have maybe more yards and touchdowns passing than he's ever had, and I think that means that he wins the MVP. Those are my picks for the 2020 NFL Awards. Let me know yours in the comment section below. It's Mitch of the Bottom Line View. Thanks for watching. Peace.